What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Old Fashioned Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Clintus, joined by the new daddy, Mike.
Yes.
How's it going, man?
Good. How are you, buddy?
Good, good. It's been another week. What's the status check in the household?
Sleeping longer. We got 5-hour stints now. Pretty good. She's eating like crazy though, so it's like never content, I guess. It's just always. It's always no. Yeah, like a bear going into hibernation. She's just ravenous.
Yeah. Speaking of sleep, I started using so I've been trying to like do multiple things, just trying to make some changes in my life. I started doing intermittent fasting.
Oh, that's good.
I can't make it to the gym, man. I just can't do it. Like I'm not driven to like go work out, and even though it's super accessible to me.
Was there a point in your life where you were avid gym goer, or no?
No. I tried multiple times. I had memberships. Like I had friends that would like, hey, we're going to the gym. But I think that was the problem, is I never really had that like gym buddy to go with, like if I had someone who always went to the gym, which I guess I'm kind of close there with my son. My son's been going, but he'll go with his friend, or he'll meet up with my dad like randomly, because my dad will like just text him like, hey, I'm going to the gym. Is a good time right now? And my son's like, yeah, sure.
Perfect.
But like just like not me, right? Like I'm not that kind of guy. So I don't know. Intermittent fasting kind of made it sound like, okay, it's a different thing to try, right? Because I love to eat. So now I'm just restricting when I eat, right?
I grew up in athletics. We were constantly always doing something, and majority of the sports I played, part of, regular training was in the gym training.
Mm-hmm.
So I was always in the gym. But it's such a mental impact for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's leveling. I get a lot, I feel, even though I do a lot around the house, just between, especially moving in, I just got a lot of chores that have to get done. Just a lot of stuff that needs updating. A lot of, just like my old place, man. It's just constant renovation, constant. Before I finished the basement. It was just project to project. Build this, build that, fix this. It's just constant. And here it's the same thing, except now I have a yard, so it's kind of like my physical outlet there. But just going and kind of being not mindless for me, but I have a plan, right? So I have a routine that I stick to. I go to the gym. I hit it hard for like 2 hours. It's my time. It's no interruptions. It's just headphones and go. It's nice. It's like a little bit of a reset. Feels good. I always come out feeling great. Like if I am in my workout routine, I never have a better outlook than when I'm constantly in that routine. I just feel better. I feel focused.
So you do 2 hours. How often do you go?
Every day.
In a week?
Every day.
2 hours a day?
Every day.
Holy crap.
When
what time do you get up?
So it depends on when I'm working. If I'm working like daytimes, I'll get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and then I'll go hit the gym and then go to work.
Damn. Okay.
I'm jealous because I can't wake up that early in the morning.
I am more of I've transitioned in my aging from a night person to a morning person. I just get so much more done. If I wake up in the morning, my day is that much more productive. If I wake up at 8:30, 9 o'clock, dude, I feel like a lazy. I'm not saying you are if you get up that early, but just for me, I do not feel productive. I feel like a lazy piece of shit. And 9 times out of 10, if I wake up that late, I don't get stuff done.
I feel that I'm definitely more of a night person. Like I will stay up later. Right? I'm a kind of guy that's like, I'll stay up till I'm tired. Like, oh, I'm tired. I'm time to go to bed. Right. Versus like getting up early. Like I hate, alarm clocks. And I'm fortunate enough that I've been self-employed for the last, 7 years that I don't ever have an alarm clock. I just wake up naturally. But my wife, on the flip side, is a morning person, right? She's the one who's up bright and early. When she wakes up, it's out of bed. Whereas I roll over to bed, I'm like, oh, my phone for an hour, right? Like I don't want to get out of bed,
man. That's
right?
Key. My wife has the same problem. So I'm the early one. She's not.
Mm-hmm.
And I only ever need to set one alarm. The only anxiety I get is if that alarm doesn't go off, right?
Right.
But I only need the one alarm, and it's always my watch. And all it is a beep, 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 beep. That's all I need. Because as soon as it goes off, first thing I do is I silence that thing and I jump right out of bed. As soon as it goes off, you just got to swing your legs out. That's the biggest hurdle. swing your
Agreed.
legs out from the bed, and that's it. I'm good.
Never had a problem with that when I know I need to go and I have somewhere to go. It's a timing thing. But my wife's definitely, again, like the early riser. I'm going to get up an hour early so I can sip my coffee and ease into my morning. And, that's definitely her style. But on the flip side, like I'm like you, when I do get up and I'm up early, I'm productive. I get stuff done. Like I'm definitely more of a front loader. Whereas the longer the day goes, I'm just kind of like, I'll do it tomorrow.
That's exactly. I'm the same. If I get a late start on my day, it just feels like the rest of the day kind of amounts to nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean? I might get the one thing that I had planned to do, whatever it was. Like today, I have planned to do Amish shit, but maybe that's what I get done. I know I have other stuff that I have to do. But I'm like,
right,
type deal. But yeah, hitting the gym.
With the in fasting, and then I also started I started doing this app my wife and I did a while back called Step Bet, where you literally pay, I think it's like $20, and it's in a pool, and you have 6 weeks to hit so many steps. So you can either run, you can walk, whatever. I like going for my walks. I like my neighborhood. I just go for long walks, whatever. Get the desert and everything. And if you hit your goal, then you get the money back, plus you share the pot with everybody else, right? So a little incentive to hit your steps and stuff, right?
Right.
So that and then the last thing is I've been actually wearing my watch when I sleep now, just to see how my sleep is. Like just kind of I'm a data guy. Like I love seeing data on myself. Like I try to keep track of all my stats on everything I do, because I'm always like, oh, how much did I do that, or how much did I do that? So I've been trying to keep track of my sleep and realizing that some nights I definitely feel rested when I wake up, and then other nights I'm like Monday. I think it was Monday night, Sunday night. It says they only got 4.5 hours of sleep, and I'm doing the math, and I'm like, I was definitely in bed and sleep before, but because I didn't get good sleep according to the watch, it doesn't calculate as sleep. Yeah, it was kind of crazy. I was like, I definitely feel like crap this morning. That's weird. That's it. And the math checks out,
Right.
That has been,
but I've never been
new dad experience here, right?
Yeah,
I finally have an Apple Watch. I got it right after baby was born, because I did that. I was like, okay, I want to track sleep. I want to go back to the gym, so I don't want to carry my phone everywhere. The amount of lack of sleep that I am getting all of a sudden, and watching that number when I wake up, and I'm like, man, that's rough, buddy.
I generally run off of around 5 hours. If I get 5 hours of sleep, I'm pretty good.
I'm currently at sub 6, around 5 right now.
If I can get 5, I'm pretty good.
I hit 3 hours and 20 minutes yesterday, not today.
It's rough, man.
Now the great part is my new ADHD medication means I'm actually awake and a functioning human being on that amount of sleep. 2 weeks ago, I would have been a walking zombie. So that's a plus.
Right. Well,
we'll see how long it lasts. I woke up this morning actually tired, so 4 nights in a row might be pushing it.
Fair.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. I feel like it has to do a lot to do with the level of activity, because usually 6 is my number. As long as I'm getting 6, I'm good, right? I'm not falling asleep when I'm driving. I'm not dozing off when I'm still on the couch. But I think it might just be a natural thing, because again, mornings are kind of loosey goosey. My kids are older now; they don't require us to get them up and out for school. I mean, hell, now that my daughter drives, they just go out on their own. If I slept through the morning, I wouldn't even know they were gone. 7 seems to be more. I'm getting between 6 and 7 now. That seems to be the new norm. And I even put in the app my goal is 6, right? I'm just, as long as I'm getting 6, I'm good. So it's kind of using that as a barometer. You need to get more sleep tomorrow night. You're good on you get sleep debt. It keeps track of all that stuff. It's kind of cool. I'm glad to hear that you're slowly starting to ratchet up. But some people, man, some parents don't get that sleep early. It takes a month for them to start getting normal, back, getting chunks of sleep.
I'm getting sleep mostly because the wife refuses to let me not sleep. She's like, you have work tomorrow. And I'm like, but it doesn't matter. I'll get up and take care of baby. What do you mean? And she's like, no. So she just occasionally will not wake me up to take the baby out to change or whatever. And I'm like, I swear to God, just let me take care of my child.
Yeah, my wife's the same way, but I mean, there's not, other than getting up and changing her. Yeah, there's not a whole lot, because it's just so much easier for her to feed her.
Yep.
For me, it would go downstairs, warm up milk. You know what I mean? Warm up stuff, get it ready, bring it back up. It's exponentially longer. Whereas for her, she just wheels her over and goes. And
the C-section makes it a little bit harder too, because it's can't use her abdomen, she can't roll out of bed properly, and you're like, I gotta go do this.
Yep. So, but So I'm waking up solely just because the baby's making noises. If there's anything she needs, obviously she wakes my ass up. But
Right.
for the most part, yeah. Dude, I haven't. She's like your wife, man. She's crazy. She's like, no, I'm good. I'm good.
I don't know what to do with it because I'm like, oh, she's like, you get sleep, and I'm like, oh yeah, like I got 6 hours, right, whatever, and she's like, yeah, I was up till 4, got about 45 minutes, and she woke back up again, and you're like, I swear to God, woman.
Could be sharing the wealth.
Exactly. Like
I can't.
I guess
the only thing I can't really remember with my son a whole lot for whatever reason, but I definitely remember my daughter, and we had a great balance because I was working at Home Depot when my daughter was born. So and my hours would always shift. Like 1 week it was this, 1 week it would be that. And so there'd be, again, being more of a night person, I'd get home from work and my wife would feed the baby and put her down. And then whenever time I got home from work, I would feed her around like midnight. Right. So she had fed her at like, say it was 9 or 8, whatever. And then I'd feed her again at midnight, and then I'd go to bed. And my wife had already gotten, 3 or 4 hours of sleep. And then I'm doing the midnight feeding. And then, another 3 or 4 hours, she'd wake up for her next feeding. My wife got a nice chunk of 6, 7 hours of sleep, maybe sometimes even 8 if she slept in a little bit, right? The baby did.
Right.
And so we had this great routine where we actually got good, decent sleep for the most part, right? Only time that would get disrupted might be like on a weekend or a day where, the baby just wasn't following her normal routine. But with my son, I can't really remember how feedings were set up, but I know we definitely alternated. Once the formula, we started doing a mix of, even when she was breastfeeding, we just, put it in the fridge or whatever. And so it was easy peasy.
Yeah. We're still early enough that there is no schedule and it just is perpetual. So
yeah, you guys are like, you're super early. Yeah.
Constantly all the time.
Again, I don't remember that far back.
They don't tell you that about being a new dad either. They're not like, oh yeah, by the way, like here's like the lack of sleep that you're going to get. And this is what
I think that's understood.
Yeah, but like
I understood that going in, or at least that's like
you can understand it, and it's a whole nother thing for them to be like, no, you think but you really don't. I don't know.
See, I didn't have a problem transitioning because I was used to running on no sleep.
That's fair. Used to like 8.5, 9 hours, but that was also because like.
Okay, well, yeah, I could see how that would be absolutely painful for you.
Like I said, the ADHD medication has changed my life because now I can actually just not sleep and I'm okay. So like for since college
until it catches up with you.
Well, yeah, but hey, it'll be okay.
Yeah, we'll pay that debt down the road.
Exactly.
Yeah, it catches up with you for sure.
Yeah.
So, any downtime or free time without the baby to catch up on anything? Movies, TV shows? Watch anything this last week?
The new season of Alone? Yeah.
I don't know that show. What's that show?
That show is like it's like the ultimate bushcrafting show, I guess you could say. Basically, they take 10. Well, I guess the show's evolved.
No. Didn't they used to do? It was like Wilderness or something, where it was just one person or two person, and they were competing against each other. So, now it's just 10. Yeah.
So now what they do is they change it, right? So it's 10 contestants right now, and they drop them on some crazy ass remote location. Right now they're like in the middle of grizzly country. It's on this lake, and it gets to like negative 32 degrees Fahrenheit here. And what they do is they drop you off like probably right around the fall time, late spring, early fall. And there's no end. There's no like survive 60 days and you win. No, it's be the last person standing, and they don't tell you when you're the last one. It's crazy. So that you don't know how many people have tapped out. You don't know. You could just be there for an indefinite amount of time. And that's just the game. So they drop you off. You're allowed so many items, right? And they're like, all right, have at it. All you have are the clothes on your back and your backpack. And that's it. You have to build a shelter, find food, find fresh water, be able to survive the frigid cold winter, and produce. And
what?
That's the show, man. It's really cool. So, dude, some of these shelters that they build are insane. It's full on log cabins with like handsaws. It's crazy.
It says that there's no camera crew, so they're just like filming themselves.
GoPros.
Wow.
Yep.
This is on the History Channel.
It's Netflix.
Oh, okay.
So Netflix used to have like every season. 'Cause I think it's season 8 right now, but they must have, that contract must have ran out going back to History Channel, but season 8 I think is on there right now. So, and the
Damn.
only reason we like watch that in bed. So I haven't really had a chance to actually watch shows. That's just kind of mindless because I like watching that stuff.
I've been
I don't
trying
know
to find
why.
something a little more reality TV for us to watch in the evenings because we watch a ton of anime on the weekends because like all of our stuff debuts like Friday, Saturday. So
pretty decent. I mean, you see these people come in standard weight, and after like 60 days, it's just like Skeletor standing back at you, and all they've been eating is like 1,200 calories on berries. It's crazy. Some of them are like, yeah, this is whatever plant. It's totally good for you. Come to find out, it's a lookalike plant. It's actually super toxic, and all you see is them. It's crazy, dude. It's a crazy show, and all they win is 500 grand.
That's it. I saw that.
It's a good chunk of money, but 500 grand for potentially months by yourself in solitaire, by yourself surviving, and there's just bears running around.
Yeah, deep in polar bear country. I saw that.
I'm like, what the shit?
I mean, like,
it's cool.
It's not even 500K. That's like, you know, just like we found out with the billionaire.
After taxes, it's what?
Oh God, yeah, that $1 billion pool. They got like
840 million. In
taxes. Yeah.
Oh, look, we actually do know how to tax billionaires.
Congratulations, IRS. You just won the lottery.
Saw that on Twitter.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, my wife and I, we don't really watch anything. As I've said numerous times, like we are complete opposites with our preferences on everything, right? So we never watch TV. The only thing that we can watch kind of and both be into are like cooking shows. So like last year we watched that Next Level Chef with Gordon Ramsay. That was actually a really good show. I really dug that. So like when on the weekends we're just kind of hanging out in the living room with the family and the kids, we make breakfast or eat breakfast. I'll just literally just turn on the cooking channel and or Food Network, and whatever's on is on. Like we'll just watch whatever, right? But I like those cooking competitions. Those are shows I do enjoy watching. That's probably the only like competition show that I actually want to watch because I just love the food. I love watching the food be made, and I'm just like, oh, that looks so good. You know, or Diners, Dive-Ins, and Drives, where he like goes.
That was a good show, dude. That was a good show.
You find little nuggets, right? You're like, oh, that place looks dope. Or you know,
oh my God, it's only an hour away from me.
Yeah. So that's really the only thing that I could say we could put on. But again, with our schedules being so different, opposite, usually, you know, it's the local news that's on before my wife goes to bed, and then I get to flip on whatever. I'm in the middle of Moon Knight, so I got I think 2 episodes left in Moon Knight, so finishing that up, and then my daughter. So I used to watch Supernatural. Was like one of my favorite shows back in the day. It was back when Netflix still did DVDs. So I would get like, you know, 3 DVDs, watch like 3 or 4 episodes, and put the DVD, you know, send the DVD back, and that's how I consumed.
I just found a Netflix sleeved DVD.
Did you?
In one of my boxes when I moved. I pulled it out. It had the paper Netflix, like the wax paper envelope. That's what it's in, dude. What movie was it? In Bruges with Colin Farrell.
Oh, geez.
Dude. Oh, fucking wax paper. I was like, oh,
so old. Yeah, so I watched the first like 5 seasons through DVD, and then eventually is when they got onto like the streaming services. And so anyway, I don't know. I think the series just ended last year. It was like 15 seasons or something. And I watched all the way
with the 2 brothers.
Yeah,
or is that Sean? Yeah. Oh no, okay.
No, that's it. Yeah, they're like they fight supernatural, you know, they're ghost monster hunters and stuff. Well, I got my daughter into it, and she caught up with me because she just binge watches. Like that's all she does, is just binge watch shows. And so she got caught up with me, and we watched like season 12 together, and we started season 13 and then fell out of it. Well, she just kind of recently picked it back up and was like, I finished season 13. I'm in season 14. You better catch up because season 15 is next, and I want to watch it with you. I was like, all right. So
hurry up.
When I finish Moon Knight, I told her I'll binge through 13, get caught up with her on 14, and then we'll watch the final season together. So I might have to make some shifts. But my goal was to get through Marvel, get caught up on Marvel, then get caught up through Star Wars, and then just start hitting, you know, whatever. But like I said, I go through, like I'll go days without watching anything, and then I'll watch like 4 episodes in one night. Yeah. Right. So it's like I do that. It's kind of like my style. But I'm getting there. I'm watching more TV.
I have to finish the Moon Knight as well, but I also want to start the Resident Evil show.
Yeah, that's what Kevin wants to watch.
Yeah.
So I think we need to do that.
I'm gonna get on that.
Right on. Yeah, no video games?
No. So Paul and I are actually playing Battlefield the other day.
Yep.
Oh, yeah?
Secretly, Paul's really good, and I'm not.
Don't even.
But no, we were playing Battlefield. Battlefield just launched another update. This is the Dirt on Face update. It's pretty cool. They're making the game better by making the characters look dirtier.
And some map updates,
So I guess that's good. Yeah, Kaleidoscope. The one map got a revamp. I haven't gotten to play it yet. Still hasn't magically popped up in my rotation. But yeah, Kaleidoscope got an update. I 64 Conquest 64 is far better than the 128.
We talked about it on the after show.
Yeah,
totally.
I mean, so these I don't know. These maps just seem to jive with you, dude. If an older map pops up, I'm ecstatic. I'm like, yes. Erica Harbor, awesome. Like I want to play those maps. These newer maps, man, they just do not flow for me at all. At all. There is, which I was about to say there's no predictability, but typically when you're playing a map, I shouldn't have to worry about 360, or maybe I should have to worry about 360. But every other game you play, it's like I don't have to worry 360 vertically. You know what I mean? In every I get the vehicle warfare, and that's fun, and I enjoy that, and I like hopping in vehicles as much as I like taking vehicles down. It's very doable. It's counterable. I enjoy it. But it's like, fuck, dude, I got Sundance flying in at 267 miles a fucking hour coming at me. She's got scatter grenades dropping. I got somebody else fucking self-guided missiles. I have a tank on one side. I got the super secret whirly bird behind me. Meanwhile, I'm in a valley, and I got snipers fucking a bajillion meters away that somehow touch me. And then all of this, there's a DMR that has a fully automatic mode that just fucking two taps you. All combined with a map. It's just like, no, nothing about this map. Oh, dude, it's infuriating. It's infuriating. I can't stand it. But the old maps just feel really, really good.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I've never been a Battlefield guy. I played a little bit of 4, a little bit of Battlefield 1, and then I never got into this new one. I was looking forward to like trying out this new one, and then everyone kind of was like,
4 is still hands down just the best. It's just 3 or 4, depending on where you, I guess you fall, and like. But to me, 4 is that is just the bee's knees. To me.
That said, I still enjoy it. Like 2042 is one of those enjoyable, I'm just going to jump in and shoot people and not really.
But it very much feels like if you look at the movement, right? Movement in Battlefield 4 versus 2042, the movement in 4 feels like more deliberate versus the movement in 2042, which very much feels like COD-esque. Die, respawn. Whereas when 4, maybe it's just the way I'm viewing the game, but 4 just felt more. It felt slower. It felt more deliberate. It felt more tactical. Versus 2042, I just don't. And that could just be a me thing. It could just be me finding more reasons to not like it, even though I have 80 hours into the game. I don't know what that means. I've been playing World War III though. New update today.
I saw the update. I was curious if
we'll see if the servers work now. I'll let you know after this. I'll touch base because World War III was that great middle ground for me.
Mm-hmm.
Then they did the wipes, which is okay by me. It doesn't matter. The weapon progression supposedly was increased by 50%, which I'm down for, but you couldn't find essentially conquest games. You couldn't find conquest games, which sucked. So the servers were borked. This update's supposed to fix it, so we'll see. I'm excited to jump back in. If I don't jump into that, I'll probably go back into Insurgency.
Yeah, Sandstorm. Okay.
Oh, so good, dude.
You tried out the cycle, so I'm interested because I know Clintus and I love it. So what did you think playing your first?
I did. So I didn't get a whole lot of time into it. I did the first 4 or so quests in there. I have a problem where the second floor of my house gets really hot, and for whatever reason, that game fucking cranks. It cranks my system. Granted, my system's a little outdated at this point. I'm still running. What am I running? I'm running the 1080 Ti still, and 7700K, I think. So it's out. It's outdated. But holy fuck, dude, I'm like mid 70s my temps when I'm running that game. So yeah. So I don't know if it's just because my setup now is on the second floor and I have to re-insulate my attic. So maybe it's just not as cool up here. So it's just sucking in warmer air, period. Or what? But I didn't get a whole lot of time. I will say this. I am surprised. I know you guys are into survival, but I'm sitting there and I'm like mining resources and shit. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It definitely feels less focus on the gunplay and more survivor focused.
Mm-hmm.
Your opinion first, Clintus, because you probably were at a higher like gameplay level.
Does it
than
change?
Does
the game loop evolve?
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely going to run into more players, especially when you go to the other map. It's just more deadly. But I only can compare this to Tarkov, right? It's that raid extraction PvPvE genre that Tarkov kind of created.
Right. So here's my question though. Like Tarkov is weapon focused. If you're going in for raids, right? You're going in for combat supplies.
Right.
Guns, attachments, health kits, ammo, ballistic carriers. Like everything is combat related. And everything about your hesitancy is because of combat. Right. So like I'm going around and it could be anything at any time. So I'm running around the cycle and I'm popping my scanner to see where resource nodes are, which is taking my attention away from potential threats.
You don't use that after like 6 hours. Yeah.
You just stop using that, period. I mean, you really, you have a mission where you need to go find the green, the nickel or the purple or whatever. You'll two things. One, you'll learn where you find those. Right. So green nodes are anywhere it's mountains.
Faces. Yeah.
Purple nodes are by waterfall specifically, and the red ones are in caves. So once you know that, unless you really are like, I really need to find this node, then you pull your scanner out, you put a mod into it, so make sure you're getting the pings on the other.
All right,
minerals.
So it's not like there's like legendary nodes that will offer a super rare resource that you're only able to get if you have a specifically upgraded.
No, and you
scanner.
only need that in small doses, right? Like it's not a mining game, right? Like that's just one little thing. Like Tarkov, where you are combat geared up, you're gonna at some point your end game is running like top tier ammo. You're running class 5, class 6 armor. Right. You've got all the attachments. Your recoil and your ergonomics are maxed out, so this thing just is like a laser beam. You're still running around and looting and looking for valuable items that are just random, arbitrary. Like, oh, it's called a Tetris, but it basically looks like a Game Boy. It's a Game Boy, but it's worth $75K. So you're like, I'm gonna take that because it's money, right? And money equals bullets, armor, attachments, health, all that, right? So it's very much this balance of the economy while also being ready for any action, both for players and, I mean, with the bosses and the new goon squad that runs around. Like, you have to be prepared for battle at all times while also trying to gather money and resources to continue playing the game.
I guess the thing is like where I'm seeing it, because and granted, I only had like green and gray guns, so it's not like I got to see a lot of really good weapons yet. But it's so like you said, you're looting, right? I don't really have a problem opening up crates or locating crates or exploring buildings because there's still a level of danger there, right? But it's taking a pickaxe out and whacking something fucking 27 times to get to the core where I finally get the nickel. Right. And it's like I'm sitting there and all I hear is tink, tink, tink. And there could be someone there could be someone walking behind me, but I'm spending such a long time trying to get rock. I'm like, why the fuck am I sitting here trying to get rock?
Quick tip. Only mine the spots that showcase the colors and gem parts, because that's where the stuff actually is. Don't worry about the rest of the rock.
But I don't get to that part until dude, I was sitting there, I was like, chink, chink, and then I'd have to go around this fucking wooden building because of where the node was located, and then start whacking on that side, and then I had to jump up on top of it, start whacking from the top.
You won't be mining. I mean, at this point, you can stop mining. Like you have a task for it. Yeah, sure, you need to go collect some nickel. That's fine, and gather up and get out. But after that, you don't really need to worry about it. You know, if you run by some, you're like, oh, cool. Here's some Velicite. I'm gonna grab a node real quick, and then leave. If you know, like, you need certain ones for crafting, because that's my only complaint with the cycle is that it's 100% crafting for better gear. You can't just buy purple gear. You can't just buy a purple backpack, right? Like, I just want a bigger backpack so I can carry more loot. Oh, right. Nope, I need to go gather these 4 items and then craft it. And it's like, but there's no other way to gather it other than to gather it and extract.
Go in there and do that.
Yeah. Now the good news is these maps are small. I mean, the map is relatively small. You can traverse it very quickly, so you can get to your spawn point, to your extraction point pretty quickly, and you can get in and out instantly, right? Like, that's the cool part about the game is it's just the servers are always on, so you're just getting in and out all day long. Whereas with Tarkov, it's like you load in, everyone loads at the same time at the beginning of the raid. Everyone rushes to the loot spawns because that's where the good loot is, or task items, and then you try to get the F out, right? So you're trying to race everybody else. Whereas with this game, because the loot respawns every 10 or 15 minutes, you can literally load in and go, okay, well, let's see. I'll go this way. I know there's some of the items over there. There's some items over there. Didn't find what I'm looking for. Now I'm just going to rinse and repeat, right? Or I'm going to wrap around and go around the whole map again and come back in 15 minutes, right?
As you search for PvP.
Yeah, while you search for PvP. Exactly. It's a much simpler version of Tarkov, especially with the color-coded like guns and armor and stuff. It's just very simple. You just look at it and go, well, green's better than white, blue's better than green, purple's better than blue. Like, and the way the damage structure works too is it's a percentage increase or decrease of damage based on the color of weapon against the color of armor, right? So whereas Tarkov has all that depth of like bullets versus class of armor versus type of armor material, right?
Which is sweet.
Yeah. But there's a lot more to learn about that, like learning the different bullets and what it penetrates. And
I'm sure, the
complaining about, oh man, I'm shooting a scav, it takes so many bullets. I'm like, well, what ammo are you using? Oh, I'm using 7.62 BP. It's like, well, you're overpenning. You're going through him like freaking Swiss cheese, right? Like, that's why it's going to take more bullets,
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, no. To your point with cycle, I would say you're in that early stage where you're still trying to figure stuff out. Once you kind of get into that groove, you're like, okay, I'm going to this location because I'm looking for this particular item. It's at this location or these type of locations. And you're like heading in that direction. You get there, you're looting, you're looking for the items. It's all about looting in that game.
Right.
And then along the way, you hear gunshots. You're like, oh, there's gunshots over there. Or you hear the birds rustle. Oh, there's somebody over there because the birds just moved, right? And then you're either going towards PvP or you're avoiding the PvP. And that's very much the ebb and flow.
Okay. Interesting.
Because you kind of have a split of runs. You're like, okay, I have everything set up for a PvP run. Like, let's do it. As opposed to you run in with a scarab and a knife, and you're like, let's just not do that today.
Let's run away from all the action.
And so the other thing is, I hit a wall at I think just about 500,000. You cross that 500,000 mark and at like a semi-regular 20K-ish extraction value, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, game said you can actually play the game. Here's blue and purple armor for the next 30 runs because you actually prove that you can play with the game. And so I went from, running around with green people and green armor and guns to, oh, congratulations, every time I walk in the jungle to go get some focus crystals, there's a dude with, purple armor going, yes, I know you like to come to this spot. I'm going to sit here for 2 minutes before I extract. So there is a PvP wall at a certain kind of like income level where it's like, oh, your MMR is high enough in terms of like how much loot you're getting, so that you don't just sit there and do basic just farming stuff perpetually without trying to encounter any PvP.
Without being challenged.
Yep. So
you're in baby stage. MMR is based on your loot value that you get out with, not who you kill or how many people you kill or any of that stuff like that. So if you're constantly getting out with a lot of loot and making a lot of money, the game's like, oh, you're pretty good at this. Let's wrap it up for you a little bit. It puts you in with some more players that know what they're doing.
That's an interesting way to rate it.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Also means you have more you have more opportunity to get more expensive stuff too, because more likely you get to like higher tier players, the more likely you are to either kill them or like they're doing the stuff that they know how to get expensive stuff. So you'll find them as they're trying to get out with, X, Y, or Z important item. So,
Right.
Right.
I was surprised by the gatherer aspect
Mhm.
of it. I thought it was going to be more like find the gear like Tarkov
Mhm.
versus find stuff to make your base better, to make your crafting station better, to make your gear better, to that element
Mhm.
that the grind essentially to
Mhm.
the grind to grind um was a little bit surprising for the type of game that I assumed I was going to walk into. You know what I
Gotcha.
mean?
Yep.
So now that I have a little better idea of what to expect,
So real quick, and before I forget to say this, Tarkov goes on sale tomorrow.
Oh.
It's 15% off all the versions except for the big version. It's 20% off. If you already own a copy and you want to upgrade to a different version, it's 15%. So it's tonight through Saturday is their like summer sale.
I was to say, what's the occasion? Summer
Yeah,
sale.
summer sale. Yeah, it's July. They usually do one in July and then one in December. But yeah, so with Tarkov, it's again very economy based. You need to be making money. In the cycle, they've got the generators, right, where you're constantly making money passively, and you can upgrade your generator to make more money, and you can upgrade your generator to hold more money, right?
Right.
In Tarkov, they give you your scav character. So you actually have two characters to run, right? One is your main character that is your main, you're leveling him up, your skills, all that. And then you have a randomly generated character. By default, it's like 20, 25 minutes or something. And then as you level up, you can drop it down to like sub 6 minutes. But it's a randomly generated character. You don't know what gear he's going to have. You don't know what he's going to have in his pockets. I mean, literally this morning I spawned with a guy who had 40,000 rubles and a labs key card that's worth like 80K, 100. Well, if you buy it, it's 120K. If you sell it, it's like 70K, something like that. But I spawned in with like over 100 G's right in my pocket. So that's how you make your money. That's how you continue to play the game. If you continue to die and then you lose on your main character, you at least have this spawned character to continue to play and gather resources and money and equipment and stuff, so that you can still go in with your main character and progress the tasks and the quests and all that sort of thing. So it's both games still have a lot of that like gathering, surviving aspect along with the PvP. There's definitely people who avoid PvP at all costs. They hear gunshots, they walk the other way. They listen for certain cues and actions. They look at the raid timer and know how much time to give the quote unquote chads time to run into the main areas. And of course, they might get all the high end loot, but it's all based on spawn points and how many players are on the map and where everyone's going. It's early in the wipe. A lot of people are doing tasks, so they're running and gunning to these specific locations to gather task items and then get out. Right? We're 5 weeks in.
Makes sense. All right.
So 5 weeks in, you've already got people who have maxed, gotten Kappa, which is like the end game. Really, the only end game activity to go for is this extra large secure container. Like in the cycle, you had your pockets, you had your secure pockets. Those are items. Those are pockets, items you can put in there, and if you die, it's the only thing you get out with. It's a secure pouch, right?
Okay, yeah.
In Tarkov, you have that as well, but you can get bigger sizes based on the version of the game you buy. But then also, if you buy like the cheapest version, you can upgrade it in the game. There's quests to get a bigger case. The Kappa case is literally collecting. You have to do all the quests, and then you have to collect all of the streamer items. So they actually make streamer items in the game. So like Dr. Lupo has his coffee beans in the game. There's items with these streamers, either something that signifies, oh, that's so and so's. Like there's a guy named Batty. He's got a big red ginger beard, right? They put that in the game. You can actually wear his beard in the game. Sequisha's got that really thick ass mustache. You can wear that in the game. You have to collect all those items and give it to one of the traders, and he gives you the Kappa case, and it's a bigger secure container, right? So you got guys already gotten that in 2-3 weeks into the game. Right? They like grinded everything and maxed it out, and they're now just chilling,
having fun.
Yep, just PvPing and doing. There's other challenges and stuff too. Like, fighting bosses 100 times to get their costumes. So you can actually wear like the Adidas tracksuit, you know, and there's a sniper one. You get like a special armband, and so there's all kinds of they're adding more and more to the game. But we're getting close. We're getting close to the official launch, right? They talk about the arena coming out this fall. That's the 6v6 like Counter-Strike style.
I'm excited for that. We hope Counter-Strike style.
Yeah. We don't know anything yet, but the directory's already in Twitch, so it's like already there. Like we know it's gonna be a standalone game, and it's already there. So yeah, I've been digging it, man. I've been really vibing with Tarkov, kind of playing mostly solo, but I'll do a couple duos here and there. And I feel like I'm in a good spot. Even, you know, it's we're 5 weeks in. I'm level like 37, which makes me, I feel like I'm behind, but of course, in the grand scheme of things, I'm kind of like in the middle towards the front
you're
end.
right there.
Yeah. That's a cool thing too.
You're not no-lifing.
Right, exactly. But I feel like with the amount of hours I put in, I feel like I should be farther along. But then you got like people who remind me like, oh yeah, well, you know, I'm only this level, so you're still better than the majority, right? I'm like, yeah, right. I know you're right. I gotta bring myself down, right? So, in the news, I know you stumbled upon this morning. You wanted to talk about it. Square Enix.
So I guess this was like a late July. So I heard conversations of this, and it just happened to pop up in my newsfeed again. Squeenix potentially being acquired by Sony, which I'm like, part of me is like, not that Square has like the greatest reputation. For the most part, what do they have? They have obviously Final Fantasy, right? That's a big one for them. Final Fantasy just across the board as an IP. Every Final Fantasy game, they have Kingdom Hearts is Squeenix as well, isn't it not?
Yes.
Yeah. And Dragon Quest are like their big three.
Okay.
They also published Nier, which
Nier Automata.
Nier Automata is such a sleeper hit. It is a phenomenal game. Fucking phenomenal game. It's just incredible. If you have to play that game. It's amazing.
Okay.
But being bought up by Sony, and part of me is like, oh no, because there was legitimately they were like on the cusp of getting ready to release 14 on Xbox, right?
Okay.
Which is great, incredible. It grows the player base that much more, right? Everyone who doesn't have the PC but also doesn't have a PlayStation, you can get into 14 on the Xbox, no problem. Man, if Sony buys this, that's done.
Right.
That's done. And that bums me out for a game that I love to now be locked. So the misconception is that Squeenix didn't release it on Xbox because of Sony in the beginning, and that's just not the case. The way Xbox does things, they wanted a standalone separate client built just for them. And it just wasn't in the budget. It's just not in the books to build something specially for Xbox. And that's how way back when, that's why Sony got 14 and Xbox didn't. It's just, at least that's my understanding, right? Fast forward and fanboys just get immediately defensive and X, Y, and Z before actually looking into anything. And it's just not the case. But we're actually to a point now where they're like, yeah, we're trying to get an Xbox build out the door. We want an Xbox build. And this is going to suck if it gets shot down. It's going to suck. That's a lot of new players that potentially could be coming in and playing.
Do you think they would keep the exclusive? Do you think they would do that?
If Sony acquires Square Enix, it will officially then, in my opinion, will become a PlayStation exclusive. They won't get rid of the PC. The PC is their majority, hands down. But as far as consoles go, I would be willing to bet, unless now, okay, well, here's something to think about. Yoshi P is all about the players, and just I could see him trying to fight to keep the Xbox, like get it in the contract that this game still comes to Xbox, period. Sort of like how Bungie, when they were acquired by Sony, Destiny stays on all platforms, right? I could see him maybe fighting for something like that. I shouldn't say maybe. I could definitely see him fighting for something like that. Now, whether Square listens to him, they'd be dumb not to, but they could, you know,
I
money
assume it'll
talks,
be
right?
something similar, just because of the way Microsoft executed the Bethesda, not the Bethesda, the Blizzard deal, is they were like, we're not taking COD away, like we're not taking any of these other platforms away. So I think it'd be really, really
Yeah, but I
overall.
don't think. I mean, COD's a different monster. If Microsoft came in and honestly tried to make COD an exclusive, I think the repercussions, it wouldn't just be fanboy wide. That's huge. COD 1 has been PlayStation for a long time. A long time. Granted, super smart of Microsoft business to get Blizzard. Really smart. And I hope Blizzard does well as a Microsoft entity. But them trying to take COD away from other platforms, I think is a massive, massive, massive mistake, just for the sake of exclusivity.
Yeah.
But when you look at something on a much smaller scale, like, or at least I can only assume, Final Fantasy 14 has less players than COD does on any given day across all COD titles, right?
Right.
You know, for them to then say Final Fantasy 14 has only ever been on PlayStation, and then now we're going to guarantee that it only stays on PlayStation, I think is a lot easier for them to get away with, because it's never been on Xbox. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though it's been asked for a very long time.
Right.
It bums me out. It sucks. Obviously,
Final
smart
Fantasy's
move.
bigger.
Nuh-uh.
Dead serious. On a
The
daily
player
basis.
base?
On a daily basis.
Yeah, but across all CODs.
Across all COD.
Nuh-uh.
No, never mind. It's pulling Warzone and
Yes. See that?
one.
Okay, so that makes sense. I believe that. I believe 14 has more players than Warzone does in a day. But if you take all the CODs available to play right now on the PlayStation, you add them as one
franchise.
Mega COD player base. That's got to be bigger.
So
right?
for COD, just so you know the numbers, playing Warzone regularly is between 1 to 3 million. They don't ever give you an actual number.
Of course.
If you count mobile, the mobile monthly is like a couple million. But the point being is, Final Fantasy is 38 million subscribers, but 3.4 plus million daily players.
Daily logins.
So your consistency on Final Fantasy is more consistent than current COD.
That's really good growth. Hey, I'm surprised by that. That's awesome. Good for me.
So anyway,
I know a lot of that's on console too. Because I remember back when I stopped playing New World, I would pull up like the Steam charts and look and compare New World to like some other MMOs and stuff. And I remember comparing it to I was like, yeah, there's still more players playing New World than Final Fantasy, and everyone's like, check console. I was like, oh, okay.
Well, it's between that and 14 has its own PC client.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the other thing I forgot about.
So that also takes away from this. The Steam charts are very misleading when it comes to games like that.
Didn't realize that. Yeah.
Same with SWOTOR. It has its own client and it has the Steam client.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but yeah, so Sony buying Square, I don't really know what they're gonna like. What do you get out of Square besides? Well, I say that you have all of the Final Fantasy games, man.
Yeah,
all of the Final Fantasy.
Well,
games.
and also too what they're working on. We don't know what they're working on. What
Final
the road
Fantasy
plan is.
16.
Yeah, but I'm just saying roadmap. It's grabbing up a studio that has IP, has well-known IP. I know just looking at their list of games. There's they got the Avengers game that's big right now.
Yeah, but look at what horrible PR they got from that game.
Oh yeah,
it's been solid the last couple of months though.
It's been better. It's been better, but
after Wakanda,
early on,
it was. Well, so.
But how bad was it early on?
I think it's also because people were expecting a specific thing and they didn't get it. Less that the game was
That
bad.
could also be the case. I mean, I'm just looking and it's just like Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy. They cling on to that IP like crazy. So I imagine if Sony buys them, they're buying them for Final Fantasy.
I would agree.
For sure. Yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
let's move on real quick because we're at 45, 50 minutes here. The
Hell
other fun
yeah.
thing from this week is the Batgirl movie, after being entirely filmed in entirety and post-processing and post-production, was canceled.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I don't understand that.
According to sources
what's
with
the rumors?
knowledge, the most likely reason it got axed, and you can come for the IRS's taxes.
Explain that. Explain that to me. Explain how taxes cuts on release.
So it actually has to do with the fact that Warner Brothers as a studio was acquired and messed with. So like the project was technically in different financial pockets during the transition, and so they don't actually stand to make any money off the Batgirl movie because of the way the contract is written. So if they do it and then they get the money, they have to pay extra taxes or something like that, as opposed to like just being able to write it off like as a normal movie or something like that. It's the weirdest, like most.
Okay. I could see that being like a here's your smoke. It's like a believable smoke.
Yeah. So I'm gonna read it from Variety. Several sources noted that Batgirl was made in a different regime at Warner Bros., which was Jason Gaillard and Sarnoff, which was specifically focused on building HBO Max. That includes the theatrical slate entire release at once in 2021, which is building a subscriber base. But became a real big problem because much like when you had Black Widow release with Scarlett Johansson, she was like, I don't make any money off of the subscription.
Disney Plus.
Right.
Yeah.
Same. So that was a big thing. The new one is David Zaslav, and he took the reins of the newly formed Warner Brothers Discovery because they merged. So it was before the merge and after the merge when they were trying to release this. So he's reversed the entire strategy of HBO Max that they were having. And so apparently it wasn't big enough to feel worthy of a major theatrical release or small enough to make economic sense in spending to put it on the streaming service. Because it was going to be a $30 million to $50 million marketing budget to actually properly market it domestically. And then that's just domestic. If they wanted to do, global, it'd be more than that. So basically that was a non-starter for the company that was just recently merged and the bottom line. So when you combine that with the fact that it was on different ledgers and the tax issues, they were like, well, we're not going to do it.
That's fucking crazy.
Yep. Can you imagine 2.5 years of your life filming in like an entire series and like finally being cast as like the character of your dreams to get axed because of taxes?
No. I mean, do we think like the falling interest of every Batman spinoff ever on WB had anything to do with this?
I don't think so. I think after the success of the recent Batman in general, I think they would have been okay.
That film was incredible, and I feel like was a different Batman to majority of its predecessors.
I agree.
Right?
Oh yeah.
So all of the WB shit that's been coming out, like all the WB spinoffs for Batman could you say have been successful? The TV shows, everything. I feel like it's been failure after failure.
Well,
I would say
so
largely, yeah.
Well, hold on. So, I'm just kind of like, just from what I know. So you'll fill me in as I go here. But you have Arrow that was like 8 seasons, and that ended properly.
Correct.
You have Flash that's I think in season 8 or 9 right now. That's still going on.
It's wrapping
all the
final
Batman
season,
spinoffs.
Okay, but Batman. So what do you have? You have Gotham and Batgirl. What else is there?
And I've heard good things about Gotham.
Gotham
was good.
Got picked up, right? It was Fox, and now it's on.
Yeah.
It's on a different network. It got picked up and acquired to a different network. Batgirl, there was a fallout with the main actress, and they recast her and got the new.
Maybe
girl.
that's what I'm thinking of then. Maybe that was the bad news. I thought it just tanked.
No.
I mean, it might. This is the new season with a new Batgirl, and may not have done well.
Oh, because this was a movie. This was entirely a movie.
This was a movie, right.
Right. So it's
So it wasn't the
entirely
same
different.
actress though
I don't think so. I mean, like
for the
No.
show. No. Okay.
But what I assumed was more than one fucking Batman show on that WB did that failed. But maybe I'm wrong.
Well, I know there's supposed to be 2 new ones coming out off of this movie, off of the new Batman movie. Penguin's getting his own show with Colin Farrell.
Yes.
And Grissom, Commissioner Gordon, is getting it's gonna be like his cop show. So Gordon's the star, but it's the like Gotham Police Force show. So it's a cop detective show in Gotham, and he's gonna be the star of it. So that's what I've heard. That 2 from the movie have spun off from that. So,
maybe I'm confusing the two. Like I said, I've just heard nothing but negative shit coming. Not that I've seen.
You might be right. You might be right. Oh, you might have heard.
I
all
just
that
heard,
right.
but maybe it's just haters who just pissed off for whatever reason.
I mean, to be fair, Warner Brothers is not exactly in good graces for their DC projects, with the exception of Batman. So, it doesn't matter what you do at this point. Like, it's going to be, well, are you sure you should be doing that instead of resetting the entire universe? I know.
That's just it. It's like what that's a big question I think on everyone's mind. Is like, what the hell are they doing? Like, what is DC doing? Like, like Marvel has got this crazy success, right? They've built this model of like, we built up to the Avengers, and then Avengers up to Infinity War and Endgame, and now we're working on the second version of this, where we were rebuilding our Avengers. And Comic-Con, they just announced the whole next 4 years.
I want them to pivot into unapologetically not for kids.
I think DC is in a good place for that.
I think DC needs to pivot, fully lean into the dark shit, right? Rated R. Just your superhero movies, that is your shtick, if you will. Marvel, like kids love Ant-Man and everything else, right? So your youngins got Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
If they lean into the more adult side of it and you recapture the older audience again, dude, lean into the R rating. That's what your movies are. Batman is dark as shit. Lean into that. Just don't try to be Marvel. There's no point. You're not catching up to Marvel right now.
Yeah.
And who has better villains than DC?
Exactly. That's the thing. It's always been the villains have been almost like the stars, right? Like, for the most part.
I completely agree. So lean into the villainry.
I'm on board with that 100%, dude. But at this point, the question is, what is their plan, right? So just a quick search.
It won't be that.
We got Black Adam coming out in October. That's with Dwayne Johnson.
That'll kill.
Right. We got Shazam 2, which is what's a Fury of the Gods. That's supposed to come out in December.
That'll also probably do very well.
Yeah, the first one was great. It was awesome.
Exactly.
It was one of those sleepers. I was not excited to watch it, but when I saw it, this is awesome.
Yes.
But clearly in the lore and the comics, those guys are villains, right? Those are not villains, but those guys are rivals, right? Because Shazam and Black Adam's the old version of that. And
so I was more curious, an anti-hero than anything else. But yes.
Yeah, but and I'm going off of just high level. I don't never read the comics or anything like that, but I just know that Black Adam was always the antithesis of Shazam kind of thing. Then you're supposed to have an Aquaman 2, which is next year. I don't know what they're doing with what's her name, Amber Heard, if they're axing her, if they're keeping her or whatnot. But
I forgot about Aquaman 2.
Yeah. Now, Ben Affleck is supposed to reprise his role as Bruce Wayne in that movie. So we've got the new Batman, which clearly is the detective style, different universe, right? We're all into the multiverses now. So it's okay, it's a different version of Batman. So we still have Ben Affleck, which I personally thought was great. I thought Ben Affleck did a great job as Bruce Wayne and that older Batman. So I'm glad to hear that he's at least still holding on to that for this, the what do you call it? The Justice League, right? We're supposed to get a Flash movie next summer, which again, don't know what's going on with Ezra Miller, the drama with him and everything. Yeah. So I don't know if that's still happening or not. Blue Beetle, don't know anything about that. Don't know who that is. That's supposed to be late 2023. So like, and then another Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix, which again is also like another like spin-off. Not sure what universe he's in, because in the Justice League universe, you still have Jared Leto, right? He was at the end of Schneider Cut and whatnot. So like if they're going to bring the Joker in that's not Joaquin Phoenix, right? So we got another Joker Batman splinter off, right? Different Gotham. And then apparently they announced a Batman 2 with Robert Pattinson. So they've already announced that they're going to do another Batman movie with the current. So, that's where all this kind of gets wonky, because it's like they've got multiple versions going on, which is super confusing to the general person. You know, they'll do another Wonder Woman. She's been very successful. So they've already said they'll do another Wonder Woman.
It's been a good series for them.
And then apparently they've talked about rebooting Superman again.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Like, just stop. Just stop. Stop. Stop with the fucking repetitive Batman shit. The formula is just not working. Stop with the repetitive fucking Superman shit. It's just not working. Stop.
Well, I don't know. I mean, again, we have to talk, dive into like the critics, the reviews, the, Rotten Tomatoes, like figure out what it is. But like, what is it about a character like Batman or Superman that you can't stick with one actor?
I don't.
Is it the directors? Is it the producers? Is it the actors? Like, you think about like all the different Batmans we've had, and even like the original 4 movies, right? 3 different actors, 2 different directors, but it's like that messes with people like in their minds of like these iconic characters.
It does, because Thor has always been the same.
Yeah.
Well, in our what we understand, right?
Yes.
So like Thor has always been the same.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Downey Jr. has always played the same character, and Scarlett Johansson has you go and you watch, exactly what to expect and what to get. Maybe they do have something there, and the fact that they keep messing with who plays who on the DC side fucks with people.
Well, and then even then, it's like, we always have to go back to the origin stories, right? Like,
and that's the other thing. But that's the thing.
Let's watch Batman's parents die again for the 4th, 5th time.
Right. The story you're telling is the same thing over and over and over and over again. That like, yes. Yeah. Not that Marvel, you could argue like the concept is basically the same every time, right? But it unavoidable. But yeah, it's the origin story every time, man. Every time. That's why
in the intro of Batman v Superman, we enjoyed just having the quick scene of like, yes, the pearls.
Right.
And that's all we need.
Right. Exactly. Everybody knows now. We all know what happened. Exactly.
Yep. Yeah. And that's where we're at. Is like DC's got a lineup of movies that are slated and to come out, and they got some cool stuff. I mean, if this all comes out to fruition, like this will be cool. But then it comes down to like, are they just going to do single movies? Is that it? They're just doing single movies of all their characters. There is no big buildup. Is that not their plan? Like Justice League, I would argue, was a success, right? And then of course we've got the different version, which was equally as successful, right? Everyone loved the different cuts and different vibes and stuff. So is that not their plan? Are they scrapping that whole Justice League thing, or do they not have a plan?
I'm personally of the opinion that A, they don't have a plan, and B, they should leave Justice League to the animated stuff because it's just better. And then the characters are in perpetuity, and you can just do one-off stuff with all your characters that occasionally have your crossovers, but it means that you actually get to like build self-contained stories with your already incredible villains that allow you to actually focus on the villains and the end of that story, and maybe a trilogy, right? But like it means you don't have to try and tie in all of this ridiculous back and forth and power scaling that DC has regularly, because like it means your city level Nightwing can actually just be Nightwing without being like, oh god, I have to deal with Superman and Darkseid, right? Like same way with the like Batman detective movie. It's like you don't have to have Robert Pattinson try and deal with Darkseid and intergalactic threat. He's just being Batman. So that's my opinion.
Yeah. It's instead of doing like the series, it would have been cool because like look at what they've done with Suicide Squad, right? First one was great, second one was great. Peacemaker came out, and that, from what I understand, I haven't seen it, but from what I understand, did pretty well. All right, there's your jump off point into your villainry. Like, right? Like, come on, how difficult is it to make that leap right there? You've established a pretty good starting point with just Suicide Squad. Now branch it. Instead of making it more about the heroes that we've already seen a bajillion times, they've already kind of dipped their toes in with the Joker. But again, everyone's kind of sick of the same fucking thing. You have a whole universe of incredibly entertaining bad guys. Let's look into that, right? I would way more enjoy that.
Yeah, I agree. It'll be interesting to see where this all leads. I mean, like I said, Marvel/Disney have got their shit together. They've laid out the next the Avengers story arc, right? Like we know exactly all the movies and series and even that thing too. Warner Brothers and /DC has HBO Max as like their streaming service, and they have a great potential to like run shows and series. And it seems like even that is just they're slow going. They haven't figured it out yet. And even if they just copied Marvel, even if they just said, screw it, we're going to do the exact same thing Disney's doing. I want this character has a show, this character has a movie. We're going to build out this. We're going to build out this. Here's it. Like they don't have anything. They're just like, that sounds like a good movie. Sure, let's do that. Why not?
Yep.
I don't know.
You know, it's a little batty. On that note, we're going to news about bats. Apparently, bats have returned to a Nevada fire station, forcing it to close.
Okay.
Basically, in 7 years, this is the second time these bats, the specific colony of bats, has infested a specific fire station, and the officials have had to temporarily close it in an attempt to relocate said bats. Again, the bats have been flying around the living quarters of the small fire station between Reno and Carson City, and the dead bats have been found in the bay. Basically, it is a health hazard for the firemen to continue working in said fire station.
Jeez.
So they're moving them and then trying to relocate the bats. And I just thought it was funny if we were talking about Batgirl and Batman. It's just all of a sudden the bats are still creating chaos even when they're not affiliated with the popular movie. So
bats everywhere.
Bats everywhere. Secondarily, just for fun, keeping the animal theme, if you find a loose kangaroo in Alabama, in Tuscaloosa County,
keep it as a pet.
Please report it to the local authorities as they are teaming up with the zoo infrastructure to track down and capture their loose kangaroo. I don't know if any of our listeners are from Alabama, specifically Tuscaloosa County, so please be aware. And if you're driving through and you see a bouncing animal that should not be there, please call.
Imagine you're down the highway just do.
Have you seen those chase videos before of like kangaroos getting on a highway and like people having to chase them down?
No, but I've seen them squaring off with people and just boxing the shit out of them.
They do that too.
Apparently, it's popular to have raccoons as pets. Were you aware of this?
No,
I was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, raccoons as pets. Trash pandas living in your house. It's like a thing, dude.
They're super.
I think. I mean, at this point, I sound
like
surprised.
On Instagram.
I sound surprised, but at the same time, I think at this point, everyone's tried to keep everything as a pet at some point.
True.
You hear some of these statistics and numbers of like, there's more tigers in captivity in the state of Texas than all of Africa, and you're like, I'm not surprised.
Would you keep a tiger?
I don't know. That's a statistic, though. That's out there.
I'm sure it is, dude.
Don't worry, cats think we're their pets anyway, so it
Mike Tyson that shit.
All right, everybody. That's going to wrap it up for us this week. Thank you so much for watching/listening. You can find the Old Fashioned Podcast everywhere you listen to podcasts. Head on over to raredrop.co for more entertainment, more podcasts. There's all kinds of great shows and content out there, as well as the YouTube channel. Mike, always good times hanging out with you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, buddy. Same with you.
Thanks, Paul.
Have a good one, guys.
Later.
We'll see you guys next week.